Seasons of Hustle Bootcamp Day 21. Let's go ahead and give ourselves a pat on the back for making it 3 weeks into this thing and for being consistent and continuing to be here every evening as we're doing boot camp. And if you're catching the replays or doing this later on, I just want to applaud you for getting this far in boot camp. So I'm excited to come to you guys a little bit early tonight because we had some other plans. So wanted to be sure that we had content for you guys. So I wanted to just go ahead and hop into chapter 12. Which is Make It Personal, which is all about incentives. So tonight we're going to talk about incentives, we're going to talk about giveaways, we're going to talk about challenges, and we're going to talk about events. So I want you guys to think about and be really intentional when you're offering an incentive. Make sure that you're running an incentive that doesn't devalue the product. So a lot of times what I will see is Young Living does a sale or an incentive for, let's just use the starter kit sale for an example. And then we feel like we need to offer things on top of that. Now, to me, I feel like that's what makes it look desperate or salesy when we're trying to do things on top of things, on top of things, on top of things. So use what Young Living gives you when they give us those incentives or flash sales. Let them use that discount from them because that's saving you money for your budget that you're going to have for your other incentives. And so I think a lot of times when we just kind of show, it's 60% off already, and then they're offering an additional 10% off or whatever the offer is, and then we're trying to offer something on top of that. To me, it just makes our product look like it doesn't have a ton of value. So be really careful when you're doing that. And if you have a personal relationship with somebody and you know that with that sale, if you were to offer them a $15 gift card back, it would really make a difference specifically just for them, then offer that personally, but don't put those salesy, pushy posts out on social media because you will see much more return by offering incentives that are personal to the person that you're working with and the relationship that you have been building. You also need to be sure that you have read policy and procedures and that you completely understand what you can offer and what you cannot offer. If you read that and you have questions, you can talk to your upline, or you can also call Young Living and ask them to clarify if you are curious if there's a certain incentive that you can or cannot do, because you want to be sure that you build your business with integrity and that you always stay within policy and procedures. So I feel like when we hear the word incentive, we automatically think money, right? But there are so many things that we can incentivize that don't really cost us anything. So I wanted to go over some ideas with you guys and get you guys to think outside of the box when you think of incentive. Incentive doesn't have to mean a free gift or an oil or a credit. The most valuable thing you can offer is your time. People want a piece of you. It's really strange, I know, to think of yourself as this really valuable resource for people. I know it was for me as I started learning things and teaching things, and like people had those moments like we talked about the other day with convention, like, oh, there's Tara Smith. Like I thought that was like totally weird and like, really, I'm nothing special, but you are special to people. People will see you in a different light. The more you learn, the more ranks that you go up. We are normal people, yes, but we are, to some people, those oily celebrities or those oily mentors and people that just inspire them. So be sure that you are using that value for yourself and offer your time. You could offer a one-on-one call. You could offer lunch with that person. So whoever the winner is gets lunch with you, a lunch date with you, or you could do a meeting with you and your upline. So maybe you get your upline diamond involved. You say, hey, I'm going to run this incentive for my team. I would love to do a 20-minute Zoom call or a 30-minute Zoom call. Would you be able to hop on that? And when would you be available? And most of them are going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, because that's something that they want to help you do as well. Other ways that you can use your time and value without dipping into financial resources is help people do their health and wellness assessments, help ask them questions, help digging into their health and wellness goals, and help them come up with their 2 to 3 month wellness plan. That's going to help with your essential rewards percentage because they're going to get on essential rewards if they have a 3 month plan. that they're wanting to implement. And if you're showing them in the resources, okay, well, this is where I would look this up. Let's look this up together. And you're teaching them, that is so, so valuable. That is more valuable than if you just sent them one of the products as an incentive itself. If you have a Zyto scanner or an iTovi scanner, you can offer those for free if that is something that you can do. If you know how to do raindrop or you know how to do aroma freedom technique, you can do those sessions with people. You can do emotional release sessions with people. So if you've attended care training or AFT training, those are services you can help provide to people that really just cost your time, because you can say, if you buy a raindrop kit, I will come and teach you how to do it and apply them to you. So they're buying the kit and products, you're using their oils, it's increasing your OGV, plus they're getting a raindrop with it. So there's all kinds of ways to make that work where you're just using your time. There's tons of just small, minimal cost things that you can do. They're on Discover LSP Life Science Publishing, so discoverlsp.com. There are so many choices of resources that are under $5 each. So that makes it really, really helpful for those of us that are wanting to stay within a small budget on incentives that we do. You can get them on sale a lot of times too with an additional 20 or 25% off. And so stock up on those when they have those sales, and then use those going forward when you're trying to do educational resources for your people. One of my absolute favorite, really cost-effective incentives is the oil bottle label stickers. So putting those little stickers on the top of your oils makes them so easy to find, especially if they're tossed in a bag or in some of the different little cases that you have. But something else that it sparks in people is they sticker all their stuff, then they see how many more oils they still don't have. So it creates this like FOMO, the fear of missing out, of not having those oils. And so it helps them create their wish list. It helps them want to get the rest of them, and it creates excitement for people. So those oil bottle label sets, I think, are like $3, but they are priceless when it comes to your business. So think about different ways you can incorporate that for your business. I know a lot of leaders, something that they do is every member that joins Essential Rewards, they send them that as a thank you. So that's something you could do maybe after they're on Essential Rewards for more than 1 month. You could just say, hey, congratulations on joining Essential Rewards. I hope you enjoyed your first 60 days. Here's a thank you from me. And guess what? Next month, you'll get something from me on Loving for month 3. So that's just a way that you can incorporate that to really keep that momentum going. We talked about product credits yesterday. Product credits can be $3, $5. It doesn't have to be $20, $30, $40, a huge thing. People love just small credits for things. You also can de-stash your stash. So as you've been doing this thing a while, you will get, maybe Pine has been in a ton of promos. So you have 8 bottles of Pine sitting on your shelf, and you're like, maybe I don't need more than 2 or 3. Now, I never would get rid of any of one item of all of it. I would always keep so many for myself. But if I have a ton extra of something, then I may use that as an incentive. Or when you go to conventions and trips, or you order resources and maybe you have some leftover books, you can do a quick photo. I know a couple weeks ago I had 5 copies of books, and I just spread them out and I took a picture of myself and was like, who wants one of these? And the first 5 people, because I had 5 copies that do this task, I will send you one of these books. So you can de-stash what you have. You can even do sample packs out of what you have. I mean, you could do the art cleansing trio. Maybe you got that, you love it, and the first 6 people that do a Facebook Live on their personal page, you're gonna send them a little mini set of that. So there's so many ways to break that down, make it cost effective. The teeny tiny sample containers on Amazon are really cost effective as well. So there's so many ways to do that. So think outside of the box when it comes to doing incentives. It doesn't always have to be this big, humongous thing. Now, I have gotten some crazy incentives, won some crazy things. I've won a trip to Hawaii. Of course, I had to put the work into that. But then, there's also things like if you're wanting to do bigger incentives like Berkey's, water filters that are along with the same lifestyle, so like 30 kits, that kind of thing. You can do those things when it's within your budget and within a certain time frame. But don't feel like you have to go big, okay? So think about when choosing an incentive, Is it going to educate, inspire, or equip your members? It should do one of those three things. So we don't want to just give away the farm if it's not producing a return of some value. So education is key. When we give away those resources that are educating, those are great. If we're doing time-based things, that can be inspiring. So equipping our members with how to get that information and giving them things that are going to be useful for them moving forward is really going to propel your business. One tip that I have is, if you do send samples like I just talked about, be sure that you're sending some educational material with it. Now that could be the product information page from the virtual office. There's all kinds of things in Young Living's website that you can send, or maybe you have some extra books or brochures laying around. Maybe you type up a quick little sheet and you give, here's my 5 favorite ways to use this. I love this mixed in the diffuser with this, and send them some tips and tricks. So people want to know why they need it, how to use it, what it's for, what it costs, so they want all the information. So if you just send some of those little tips with it, people are going to be more likely to use it and implement it if they have ideas. So just be sure you're staying compliant and sharing with them why you wanted to share it with them. So sending incentives to people is something that is super fun. But you should always think about, when you're setting these up, these 5 questions. How long is my incentive going to run? How many people could be eligible for this incentive? So for example, if you were doing, if you join ER, this is what you're getting. So you would go to your virtual office, pull the report, not on auto ship, report, and see how many people that is. Okay, and then say maybe 20% of those people would be what you would think might join. So make sure that's within your budget. So make sure you're not doing something that is not going to be something that you can't fulfill later. The third question is, how much of my budget is this incentive going to use? And number 4 is the outcome going to offset my cost? And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute, because there's a way to kind of figure that out and target that. The 5th question is, what would actually motivate the members that I'm targeting for this incentive? So if you are targeting a specific leg and you know that leg doesn't respond well to enrollment incentives, but they respond well to a percentage off or a product credit, you would choose one versus the other. So I hope that makes sense on when you're targeting a specific area, to think about what would benefit them the most, not benefit you. So when we target certain areas of our business, there's tons of ways to do that. So if we need to get OGV in one leg to rank up, you can grab that Oily Tools app and you can change your rank to the rank that you are trying to achieve. It will estimate the possible difference in paycheck. Now, it's not going to be able to estimate the OGV that's not there, but a lot of times just that change in rank, your paycheck will change. So like when we were going for platinum, I chose the difference between gold and platinum and I subtracted those 2 numbers. And that number was my budget, because that is the amount that I would at minimum make by hitting that rank. So it doesn't do me any good to spend everything that I'm making up ranking trying to get there. That's not sustainable. That's not going to be something that you want to continue going forward. So you want to be mindful of that budget. And so that's one way that you can estimate that. So let's just say it's going to be $150 more. You may decide, well, I'm willing to put 100 of that towards an incentive. And you know there's going to be some additional that you're going to earn on top of that because of that OGV that's not in there yet. But you get the point of what I'm saying is, don't spend $500 on an incentive if you're only going to make $150 for upranking. So that's how you would kind of estimate it and see if it makes sense for what you're trying to do. If you're trying to increase your essential rewards percentages, train on essential rewards, do live unboxings, just be really rich with content for essential rewards and talking to your people about it before you run the incentive. So anytime you're running an incentive that you can educate on before, you're going to have a higher rate of return on the people actually taking the incentive and doing the task that you're wanting them to do. So get your builders excited, challenge them to increase their ER percentages. Do a training with them while you're training your other people on the benefits of essential rewards. So you could have a little boot camp set up together where you're talking once a week with your leaders or doing a Facebook Live in your builder group, and you're teaching them ways to increase their ER percentages. And that you would have them track their ER percentages all throughout that month. And if they increase their ER percentage by a certain percentage, or whatever your parameters are that you decide, then they would get XYZ incentive. So by working together and creating that momentum of education and getting your builders involved, that is something that is really going to propel your ER percentage upwards, which is what we want, right? Okay, so if you're trying to help a downline member rank up, there's things like the 500 club, the 2000 club, the 1000 club that you can do. And so that's getting people to get to 500 OGV for the first time, or to 2000 OGV for the first time. So there's a Facebook group called YL Incentive Ideas. We mention it in Seasons of Hustle as well. There's tons of ideas in there for different types of incentives like that. But the 500 club is something that is super successful. So read that in the YL Incentives group. It's okay to tweak it, make it your own. But you can use that general idea to kind of get your creative wheels going and figure out how you actually want to run the 500 club. The big thing I see with doing that is the celebrations along the way and keeping people excited along the way. So if you just mention it the first 3 days of the month, then you don't mention it till the end of the month, there's not going to be much momentum. But if every few days somebody's hitting that and you're celebrating that and you're talking about it all throughout the month, then that's where the momentum happens. So what if you're trying to reach those who haven't purchased since their premium starter kit? So this is where you would really want to target an area with education. So you could send educational information through the mail in a happy mail. You could offer health and wellness consults, and if they complete the consult, then they get XYZ incentive or so much off their order of any amount. Okay, and let me talk to you a little bit about why I like incentives that aren't specifically like order 100 PV, get this, order 300 PV, get this. So when you do an order of any amount, it makes people feel like they're not being targeted for a certain task. And so there's a lot of people who will order to get an incentive of any amount that maybe couldn't afford the 50 or the 100 PV or the 300 PV that you're wanting to target. But if you got 10 or 15 people to do that versus one or two doing the 1 or 300, it's really going to be about the same thing. So I like to do it of any amount because it doesn't seem as about you and your goals. It's about them and offering them something that's going to help them. So think about that when you are doing incentives of maybe possibly not putting so many parameters on it. I find sometimes too incentives are too complicated, and we try to meet every personality in every incentive. So we give way too many options. So maybe make a shorter time frame and do just more specific and kind of rotate through your personality colors as well. One thing that I always love to incentivize, because we said enrollments is key to growth, is offering enrollment incentives, especially for first-time enrollers. I've said it before, I'll say it again, a rose roller is a great incentive for this. It is super cost effective. When you get the 5 ml rollers, the little rose quartz that you put in it, it really only takes 1 drop of rose when you do that 5 ml with the rose quartz in it and fill it with carrier oil. So you can make a ton of rollers for that, and it's something people really love. And we're reaching a really good time with Valentine's Day coming up and Mother's Day. So those are 2 months that the rose roller seems to be a huge hit because everybody wants it. They want to experience it. So somebody that maybe not be interested in the business will do it just to get that rose roller, and then they figure out, oh, this really wasn't that hard. That was kind of fun. I want to do it again. So you will see it really creates momentum to do some of those really special gifts like that. So another thing to do is to read the rest of the targeting area incentives in this chapter, because there's probably 8 or so that I haven't touched on, but we will run out of time if I go over all those. And we have examples in the book of the rest of those, so be sure and check those out, because that's part of your homework tonight, is to be sure you fully read chapter 12, because chapter 12 is this entire video. Tomorrow we'll be moving on to another topic. So giveaways, let's talk about giveaways. So giveaways are a little bit different than incentives. Giveaways are just totally fun for me. I love gifting them and I love getting them. I love surprises. Get creative with your giveaways. Ask your leaders to join in on the fun. Summertime is a lot of times when we want to create momentum. So last year we did a Splash into Summer giveaway. We talk about that in the book, where all our leaders got in and we was like, hey, these are the things that we all can donate. And we figured out different ways to incentivize that through a 90-month period over the summer. You can do so many different things with 12 days of growth, 12 days of gratitude, 10 days of this, 7 days of that. So you can get really creative with those giveaways. And a really great one to do, especially with this new starter kit, is about a month from now, when we've got a lot of people with that new starter kit, do a new member experience where we're going over everything that's in that new kit, and then give something small away every day for those days that you go through it, or those posts. You can even do it in one day throughout post. So just get creative with those giveaway ideas. Be sure that you are including those leaders, and those leaders that you include, be sure when you're doing those giveaways, incentives, give a special shout out to them. You know, we are so thankful for this person, who's coming together and making this possible for you, because you don't want it to seem that everything is coming from you. You want all of those leaders who are giving in for that incentive or giveaway to be heard and to be seen. So these are things that are just fun. You can pop in and do. You can make them time sensitive. And this is something you can also do, like the first 5 or the first this. So you can make those just fun little pop-up things, and it's really fun to do. Holidays come the same time each year, so let's not stress out about them, okay? Let's schedule them. When we talked about our calendar and scheduling our time, let's think about the upcoming holidays. So this month we need to be thinking, it's January, so we're thinking about Valentine's Day in February, and St. Patrick's Day in March. And March is also basketball, March Madness. April is Easter. So go over the next 2 or 3 months and think about different incentives that you may want to do for those holidays. Now, I'm not saying do an incentive for every holiday. I'm just saying the ones that are really heartfelt to you, that you're like, I want to do something special for this, then put those in your calendar and plan towards them, and use that time to be creative and get your idea together and not wait till the last minute. One of the big things that I think you should celebrate every year is your oil-iversary. Okay, this should be a day that should be celebrated, because it was a day that changed your life. It's a day that changed the projection of your future, of your wellness, of your purpose, and your abundance. My favorite way to do this is by doing gratitude. So I love to do a post where we're like, we are so thankful that we said yes to this journey. I want you to, in the comments, tag the person who shared oils with you and tell them why you're grateful for them. And then we'll randomly pick people to get a bottle of gratitude or a gratitude roller or things like that. So don't make it be salesy and pushy and buy something because it's my oil-iversary, but celebrate your team and celebrate those people, because you would not be where you are without those people. So that's a time to love on them and appreciate them and thank them for being on the journey with you. There's also multiple ideas in this chapter on holidays as well, but I want to move on to events. So events can be things like a 7-day water drinking challenge, a 10-day sleep challenge, a 30-day Ningxia Red challenge, a 30-day Endoflex challenge is life-changing, you guys. So think about those things. A spring cleaning challenge. I mean, there's so many ways with all this Marie Kondo tidying up stuff. Maybe you do a tidying up challenge and everybody is cleaning their house and decluttering, because if they're decluttering, they're going to be able to focus more on sharing once the decluttering is gone. You know, and we all share different aspects of our lifestyles, and if there's ways you can maximize on that, go for it. But before you do these challenges, consider doing that education I talked about, because if you talk about Ningxia Red for 30 to 45 days beforehand, and you tell people, hey, guess what? On March 1st, we're going to be doing this 30-day challenge. You want to get your Ninja ordered? You want to have it ready? This is what it takes to do it. You're going to drink 1 to 2 ounces every day. It's going to be amazing. Bonus points if you're trying Nitro Zinc during that as well. Whatever you want it to be, and come up with 30 days of education on Ninja. And then throughout the challenge, have a checklist for them to mark, that they actually did the work. Those things can create so much power momentum. So many people on our teams have started drinking Ninja Red, and it's in their essential rewards order every month now because of a challenge. So maybe you're doing the Indiflex challenge and everybody needs help with balancing hormones, right? And so if all of us are doing that together and all of our hormones are harmonizing at the same time, that can create some crazy momentum. And people are seeing you guys talk about all of the changes that you're seeing and things that you're able to do and see. And it's amazing when you get all of that momentum going together. Because when you try a product and you fall in love with it and you're like, oh my gosh, this totally did XYZ. I can't believe this. This is amazing. You share that. You do a little 7 or 10 day challenge with it. It is just huge. So these are things that you should consider doing if you are thinking them out and doing them ahead of time. Okay, so I want to talk about rank ups for a minute. I want you to be sure you're celebrating rank ups with your team. Rank ups are huge. We only get to celebrate 9 times on this journey. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really, really not. Especially, the time frame of this thing. I'm in Young Living for life. I will never not be using the product, not sharing the product. Like, I can't imagine my life without it. And we only have 3 rank ups left. And so to think for the rest of my life, there's only 3 left, it's kind of like, wow, that's kind of insane to think about, So those steps are so special for each person. Each one is special. Your team is built, and your diamond teams and crown diamond teams and royal crown diamond teams are going to be filled with hundreds of stars, senior stars, executives, silvers, golds, platinums, and up. And every single rank is so important. We appreciate every rank. We're excited for every rank, and we need to celebrate that. We need to be sure that our people are being seen, they're being shouted out. I think at minimum, you should send a personalized note or postcard to your rank ups in the mail and just congratulate them. Some leaders decide to do rank up gifts. Maybe you do that to a certain point or to certain levels. That's completely up to you. If that's within your budget, if that's part of your love language, nobody's saying that's something you have to do, but I want you to think about when you've received those things in the mail and you didn't know where they were coming and they were a complete surprise and you felt seen from a diamond or a crown or a royal from the first time. It's kind of life-changing. Like, I remember getting stuff in the mail and being like, oh my gosh, they know who I am. They knew my name. They know my address. Like, they saw I did something. And it can be a pretty magical motivator. So you never know what one little simple postcard or gift for a rank up can do for somebody. And it can ignite a passion in them that you may not know, they may not know that they had yet. Let's see. I've got some last minute tips here. Okay. So my last minute tip, since this has all been about incentives and giveaways and things like that, is how do you organize them? How do you keep up with everything that's going on? Who gets what? Okay. So Google Forms is going to be your best friend. It is not hard to use. You can Google YouTube videos, or you can just get around in there and get around and play with it. It's free, super simple. So if you make the form and there's a link that you share for people to fill it out, and you do that now and you implement that and your team gets used to that's what they have to do to claim their prize, guess what? When they fill that out and you're completely done, say the form has to be filled out by the 15th of this date to receive XYZ incentive. On the 16th, you go in, you download that, and it will download exactly all the information into an Excel spreadsheet. You can click that spreadsheet, print that out, and you can do all your mailing from there. You can see how many packages you need to get together, and it just makes it super, super simple. It's also interesting, sometimes people don't realize that they were even up for an incentive. So I had a lady one time who won an everyday oils kit, so that's 10 oils, and mailed it to her, and she messages me and she's like, why did you send me this? I didn't order this. I'm like, no, you won it as part of an, giveaway, whatever it done. She's like, well, I didn't enter in to do that. And she hopped off Essential Rewards and she quit ordering because she got a free gift. I know it sounds crazy, right? We celebrate when we get those things, but it's not everybody's thing. Not everybody likes to get freebies in the mail. So by making that form a requirement, if they don't fill out the form, then you're not obligated to send that incentive either. So if they're not active on Facebook and that's how you're doing it, or you send them a text message and they don't fill it out, they had the opportunity. If they choose not to seize that opportunity, then that's going to save you money as well, and make sure that, this was the list, that's who you're sending it to. So members don't realize sometimes that this is where you get your leaders involved, and you train your leaders to look in their virtual office and reach out to those 5 people and say, oh my gosh, did you know that you're eligible for XYZ incentive? I'm going to tag you, be sure you fill out the form. Or if it's in a Facebook group, you can tag people and say, yay, so-and-so, you qualified for this. I'm so excited for you. Be sure and fill out the form above. That helps create momentum on your incentive as well, by being able to tag people when they actually earn the incentive. So that's a way to be super organized. As your team gets bigger, I'm telling you, when you have to mail out 140 rollers at one time, it can be overwhelming. So doing it in Google Forms fashion, if you're doing that as your teams are smaller and they're used to that as they're growing up the ranks, they're going to use that as well, and it's just way easier. And then you can always go back to that information. And a tip for that when you do your Google Forms is, if you're using Project Broadcast, do a section where they can put their cell phone number in. If you are wanting to do continued contact with them, a question I always like to ask on the very last question is there anything else going on in your life that you would like me to know about, so I can help you with? Is there something I can pray for? Is, just like basically like, tell me what's going on. How can we communicate? How can I help you? What can I do for you? And the connections that will come from some of those forms and the information that you will get from people will really help you connect with those people who maybe you haven't had a chance to build a relationship with, or maybe they're 8 or 10 or 12 levels down and you really haven't got to talk to them yet because there's other people they're talking to them, but maybe they have specific questions for you. So that is one way to build that connection, and we're seeing a lot of positive things from having that. So I really hope that you will get on Google Forms. Just do a test one. Do one, play around with it, send it to one person, say, hey, fill this out so I can see how it works. I'm playing around with this, thinking about implementing it. So have some of your leaders and your friends help you with those things when you're testing it out. Okay, so that is all my tips. Well, not all of them, but what we're going to share for tonight on incentives, giveaways, events, challenges. I hope this is helpful for you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.